Welcome to High Performance by the Word. Today we'll be looking at a very, very important topic. All our topics are important. All our topics are critical to high performance, value creation, solution, provision. But today we are going to be looking at something very, very important that is generated from the inside of you if you must attain to meaningful success, and that is self-discipline. What is self-discipline? What is the relevance of self-discipline? What is the importance of self-discipline? How does it build onto success? How does it build onto high performance? And how relevant is this in today's world? These and many other things we'll be looking at in today's episode as we talk about self-discipline. We'll go on a short break now, and when we'll come back, we'll engage. Welcome back. I said earlier on that today we're looking at self-discipline. Very, very, very important topic, and very integral to success at any level. Business success, political success, spiritual or ministry success. Name it, define it. Self-discipline is integral to any kind of success or high performance you can think about. And I have with me on the set today to discuss this because she's applied it all through her life, and especially in the career path she's picked. On set with me today to discuss this very important topic on self-discipline is Dr. Jacinta Abalaka. She's actually a doctor in conservation biology. Dr. Abalaka, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I'm really glad for your being here today. We're talking about self-discipline. And, many times when people hear the word discipline, they start getting fidgety. But how important is discipline? And in the first place, what is self-discipline?
Thank you very much, sir, for the question. Self-discipline is actually different from discipline. Discipline, when we apply discipline, we're talking about applying it to people. But self-discipline is what you do to yourself. It's something that is you have to apply to yourself. So it's a kind of self-restraint, self-control, temperance. The Bible tells us about temperance in various scriptures, and specifically Apostle Paul talked about it in 1 Corinthians, where he told us about putting our body under. He compared it to what athletes have to do. So it's that ability to stay on an action or a behavior in order to accomplish something that will bring improvement and success.
Wow. That means self-discipline is integral to success. And you also said something. You said it is different from discipline in the sense that discipline is external. You apply discipline to control or to correct behavior and to guide towards a code of conduct. But for self-discipline, it's from the inside, and it is measured at keeping you on course to achieving desired goals and objectives.
Yes, sir.
Wow, it's so beautiful. So how important, how relevant must everyone practice self-discipline if they have to be successful or if they desire to be successful?
Yes, sir. If you desire to be successful, you have to. Naturally, man he has the nature of going for whatever he wants to accomplish. He takes the easiest route, the path of least resistance. That is the natural course that a man would like to take. But we have come to know that if you keep following the least resistance, you will not accomplish much. So for somebody to be successful in anything, you need to discipline yourself, come out of your comfort zone, and begin to do things that will lead you towards your goal. Because if what you were doing initially could actually accomplish that goal, then you would have already accomplished the goal. But because those things you are doing are not producing what should make you accomplish the goal, then there's a need for change of behavior and actions. And therefore, you need to discipline yourself to begin to do something new. Because if you just remain in that place where you are comfortable with what you do, then you are headed for failure. The Bible says, a little sleep, a little slumber, so shall thy poverty come.
Okay.
That means you are just relaxed in doing the same thing, slumbering over the same thing, not ready to push yourself out. So long as you don't push yourself out, then you are bent on remaining where you are. There won't be something new. There won't be a new achievement. There won't be anything to add to where you are. So there is a need to discipline yourself to begin to do new things that will actually take you towards your goal.
Yes. I want to ask you something that's a little bit practical. Because, for example, you are a conservation biologist. And not just a conservation biologist, you've attained your PhD. So that means it must have taken you some serious level of self-discipline. So I would just like you to explain some of these things. One, because when we talk about self-discipline, we're talking about a course of action. There are deliberate things you do, and initially you mentioned some level of resistance. That means in spite of challenges or distractions, because these are some of the things that could pose as resistance, you maintained focus and you consistently did certain things that drove you until you attained your doctorate in conservation biology. So can you just talk to us? What are some of these things that I need to imbibe consciously from the inside to stay on focus to achieving desired goals and objectives, regardless of the distractions, lack of opportunities sometimes? What are some of these things?
Okay. So if you want to actually achieve something, first of all, the actions to take will be based on what you are aiming for.
Yes.
For me, for my career and my working towards my PhD, well, it entailed a lot of things. First and foremost, PhD is not the same as master, is not the same as BSc. And that was what I did before getting to the PhD level, which took less effort. So when I started my PhD, I discovered that I had to read more. And especially it was in an environment that I was not familiar with. Nigeria, I did my master's and BS in Nigeria, but PhD was outside of the country, and there were more, the dike was raised.
Yeah.
So I had to push myself. I had to read more. There were a lot of things that I needed to learn by myself because I didn't spend a lot of time outside in the environment where people knew it. And I actually took an aspect of the course that it wasn't actually exactly the same as my BSc and
Masters.
MSc.
Yes.
So I had to actually read more. And this took a lot of push. Disciplining
yes.
myself to sit up at night to read, spending long hours, closing late from the office. At times people, my colleagues will be like, oh, they are going shopping or window shopping. I can't follow them. I have to discipline myself to stay on the work. So there will be distraction.
Even though you're overseas, and you know, many times when people travel overseas, they want to go shopping.
Yeah.
They want to see the place. But you were there for a different purpose. You didn't come necessarily to shop.
Yes.
So even though you were being distracted by some of your peers that were asking you to go shopping with them, you had to discipline yourself
Yes, sir.
to sit up, to read,
Yes, sir.
to research.
Yes, sir. So there were a lot of things I had to actually teach myself, because what I knew here was like below what I was expected to do. So I had to give time, a lot of time into doing. I couldn't operate from the relaxed mode.
Yes.
So it took a lot of, pushing myself, disciplining myself to do things I wasn't used to doing before. Because one of the things that cause people to fail is when they still want to continue doing the same thing that they've always done and expecting that the result will change. It won't change.
It won't change.
So the aspect of my work required different things beyond what I was used to. Previously, you just go to the field, collect your data, and you analyze. But this had more than just collecting. I had to go to the field, collect samples, take to the lab, analyze, before I get data to start another data analysis. So all of this required more time, and that time I had to commit to this. So in spite of the fact that I had other things that I had to do, but because I have a goal, I had to discipline myself to, ignore things, TV will have to go, instead of reading novel, I should be reading papers.
Yes.
And all of that. So it took a lot of things being taken out, things I used to do being taken out in order to...
It took a lot of things being what? Taken out. That means to be self-disciplined, there are certain things you will need to take out for certain things to come in, so that ultimately you achieve the overall success, the desired objective you're looking out for. That means until you take out certain things, you cannot achieve what you want to achieve. We'll be right back after this break to continue this beautiful conversation. Welcome from the break. We are still talking on self-discipline with Dr. Jacinta Abalaka. Yes, you were saying some things about using yourself as a practical example and illustrating some of the key areas. And just before we went on a break, you made a very striking point. You said to be self-disciplined, you'll need to take out some things so that you can accommodate some things. So just continue from that point.
Okay, so if you don't actually do away with some behaviors and some actions, there will still be a distraction.
Yes.
And if you remain distracted, you'll never accomplish your goal. Because, yeah, there are people that want to balance the two. If you really want to get to your goal and fast, you need to get rid of some things. And get rid of them doesn't mean that you should just leave it empty. You replace the action with new things. That's because you are creating space in order to have time to take the proper action that will lead you to your goal. And, it's so important to actually apply self-discipline if you want to accomplish anything, if you want to be successful in what you do. And the Bible says in Genesis chapter 49, where Jacob told Reuben that he is unstable as water, therefore shall not excel.
Yes.
Being unstable is another synonym for being indisciplined.
Yeah.
And he didn't have self-control.
Yes.
And it became his character. He actually said that Reuben was the beginning of his strength and the excellency of wisdom. Now, that means that you may know what to do, but if you don't apply self-discipline, then you'll not be able to accomplish anything.
Wow.
So
Did you get that? You might know what to do. You might even have a direction and a goal. But if you do not apply discipline, self-discipline, you will never get there.
So self-discipline is actually a very important part if you must accomplish anything. That is why we see people that, have decided to take themselves to a particular level in their career. Athletes are a very good example, always pressing towards the mark. Because if you don't, it is like, as Apostle Paul said, you are beating the air.
Yes.
You are just throwing empty punches.
Empty punches on a destination to nowhere.
Exactly.
Movement, but no distance covered.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, application of self-discipline cannot be underestimated.
Wow.
If you want to be successful.
And this also applies to what is usually said. Maturity is the ability to delay gratification. So that means the one who is self-disciplined is mature in his conduct and approach to whatever it is he wants to achieve. Self-discipline is really, really very, very important. And even coming to that part of the scriptures where you took reference from, just thinking about it. Reuben was Jacob's first son, and that means he was supposed to be his strength.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, he lost that position to the 11th son, Joseph. Why? Because of the lack of self-control, the lack of self-discipline. Can you tell us some of the benefits of self-discipline?
Okay.
Yeah.
So self-discipline actually gives you the ability to choose and then persevere until you accomplish your goal.
Wow.
It also gives you the ability to be able to overcome addiction, laziness, and procrastination.
Yes.
Because procrastination is one very big obstacle for a lot of people. They know what to do already, but keep saying we'll do it later. Well, if you are disciplined, you do it at the time it's supposed to be done.
Wow.
And you get the work done. And then thirdly, it helps you to follow through on the plan, not to leave the work half done.
And that is very, very important. Sometimes you find people, they begin something, but when you see them some other time and say, how far with that beautiful thing you started? Oh, that thing, we're no longer doing it anymore. And why? A lot of things came up. The inability to follow through. And that is the lack of self-discipline. And sometimes people blame these things on external factors.
Yeah.
Say, well, the resources were not available, the environment was not convenient, and so on and so forth. But you made mention about, regardless of the environment, when you went overseas for your doctorate, you stayed and followed through. So that means if someone is disciplined, he will surmount obstacles.
Yes.
He will surmount obstacles.
Yes, because even sometimes some of the obstacles I faced was finances, because my research was quite expensive.
Yes.
And I had to look for grants here and there, you know, not just giving it up and saying, well, there's no money. Anybody would have understood that, okay, she couldn't finish, there was no money. But I didn't want to see myself leaving the work abandoned.
Yes.
And that's, I had to look for a way to get it done.
Yes.
You know, because if you're actually disciplined towards your goal, it will cause you to not to give excuses.
Yes.
If you settle for excuses, then it seems you were not actually determined to get to your goal.
That's the truth.
But if you want to get to your goal, you refuse to accept excuses and you follow it, rather you push until it's done, no matter the obstacle, no matter the opposition.
Wow. 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 That's just beautiful. And the something you need to understand is this. There is power. You know, when we say discipline, self-discipline helps you overcome obstacles. That implies that there is power in discipline.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yes.
Because it helps you overcome. And that's why the Bible even tells us in 2 Peter chapter 1, reading from verse 5, it says, to faith add virtue, to virtue add knowledge, to knowledge add temperance. That is self-control.
Exactly.
Then it goes on and lists several other things. Then it says, if all of these things be in you and abound, it will make you effective. You understand? So there is power. Is one of the very, very important ingredients to success or high performance or value creation, self-discipline. You cannot underplay it. There are people, you see it everywhere, with talent, ideas, but they lacked self-control, they lacked self-discipline, and they made a mess of whatever talent or giftings they had. We see it every time in sports, among sports people. And that's why even the Bible uses athletes to illustrate self-discipline. Yeah. Said, because of what they want to achieve, they become temperate in all things. They discipline their bodies, they discipline their appetites. Do you understand? Yeah. They discipline their minds to focus on that singular goal. Yeah. Wow. What are some of these, some people say there are 5 pillars of self-discipline. They talk about acceptance, they talk about perseverance, willpower, hard work, industry. Can you explain some of these things, these key pillars? Willpower, hard work, perseverance. What do these things mean? Yes.
Thank you, sir. The pillars of self-discipline. Acceptance. Acceptance is, first of all, you accepting yourself. You know, believing in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, that means the goal you have set for yourself, you are not actually planning to hit it. Maybe, you know, Apostle Paul say that not everyone that enrolls in a race, they enroll to win. But there are actually people in life that don't enroll to win. They are just, you know, drifting along with whatever is happening. So there are people like that. But somebody that wants to come out tops actually believes in himself that he can do it. So in order for you to actually discipline yourself towards you, then you believe in yourself that yes, you're going to get there. Then secondly, for willpower is like that push to start up. The willpower, the power to actually take the first step towards your goal. And that is very, very vital, because if you don't take your first step, you never start.
That's true.
So that ability to actually start, that is willpower. And it's very, very essential, because if you don't you know, the willpower is not there. You keep procrastinating.
That's
You
true.
start tomorrow, and you know it never gets done. Then hard work, very very vital. It is actually you putting in your best towards the goal, pushing, refusing to observe all of the distractions and restraints that might come. So you have to have that in you, you know, in order to actually get to the goal. Because there will be obstacles in whatever you want to accomplish. There will be obstacles, there will be things that will not be convenient to do and all of that. But hard work makes you to overcome all of that.
Yes, and that you find sometimes you even staying behind when others have closed.
Yes.
Do you understand? You come in to work when others are on holidays. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You just there, hard working, committed to the cause.
Exactly.
Committed to the cause. And that also speaks about someone who is hardworking, most times will be industrious. He will have ideas. He will have, do you understand, beautiful things that he wants to put into work. And do you understand?
Yes, yes.
He's a
Yeah.
person of industry. A person of
Exactly.
industry.
Exactly.
Then perseverance.
Yes.
Wow, this is just so beautiful. You heard all of these things from Dr. Abalaka, and the beautiful thing about it is that she used her personal experience in obtaining her doctorate in explaining some of these things to make it as practical as can be. You cannot achieve that goal, you cannot achieve that dream you're talking about, or you've written down, or you've been assigned to, if you are not self-disciplined. Self-discipline is power, and its power you must imbibe, cultivate, and train yourself for. Very important. We've come to the end of today's episode. You've heard all the beautiful things Dr. Abalaka has shared with us using her own personal example in driving self-discipline. Dr. Abalaka, I really want to appreciate you for coming on set and using your own personal experience as a template for explaining self-discipline.
Thank you, sir, for having me.
Thank you very much. So I'm looking forward to seeing you again next episode. Remember, that dream, that goal, that objective, that desire will not be achieved until you imbibe self-discipline. God bless you.